Okay, once again, welcome everybody to today's IES-INCA event and co-organized with BOP Hub. And we are very privileged to have our friends from BOP Hub, Mr. Jack Sim, Mr. Tony Tan, Alita, Jam, Dilip, and Adam to join us today. And Jack and Tony will be presenting later. And for today's event, we'll be talking about opportunities at the base of the pyramid, BOP, conversation with Jack Sim. So he'll be sharing a lot about the BOP today. Let me just start off with an introduction about IES-INCA for those who are new to us, and also welcome all the IES members, engineers who are here with us today, and all of you who are here for the first time. Yeah, very warm welcome to you. So I'm Andy, I'm the General Manager for IES-INCA, and today's program will be introducing IES-INCA and also our new partnership with BOP Hub. After that, Tony will be doing an introduction about the base of the pyramid and what BOP Hub does. After that, Jack will be doing a presentation, sharing a bit about himself, his journey, and also how he come to found BOP Hub. After that, we'll have a Q&A where you can ask any questions about IES-INCA, BOP Hub, and also the opportunities ahead where engineers can actually participate in. And lastly, we have some free interaction where you can chat further at the end of the session. Okay. So IES-INCA is formed since IES-INCA is an extension of IES. Okay, and IES stands for the Institutional Engineers Singapore, and its association has been around since 1966. It's the national body for engineers, and our mission as IES is to advance, promote the science of professional engineering and for the well-being of mankind. So our vision is to be the heart and voice of engineers in Singapore, and it stands as a national body for engineers. Our IES members form up this council, which look after the needs of the engineers and the association. And we actually have engineers from different disciplines as well as different sectors of industry. We have engineers from government sector, private sector, and also the academia. So together, they drive the future of engineering. Okay. So from IES, we extend into IES-INCA, which stands for IES Incubator Accelerator. Our role is to connect technology entrepreneurs, mentors, and investors in the IES venture community to build sustainable and successful technology ventures. And certainly with today's event, opportunities of the BOP are also form a huge base for us to put our engineering skills to good use as well. Some of the achievements of IES-INCA since we started in July 2019, we have actually got 18 incubators that we have worked with, 80 plus mentors, 70 plus investors, and also 750 participants in our past events and also engagements who are very much into the entrepreneurship, innovation space, and also engineering. Okay, so from there, we build up partnerships with recent ones with E27 and now with BOP Hub to really extend the technopreneurship opportunities and also to grow our network of collaboration. Okay, we also work closely with the universities, polys, and also the venture investment companies. So some of the activities that we have run in the last 2 years, engaging into the engineer community with the wider community interested in technology as well as the business areas, and interviewed entrepreneurs where they have shared their story. And today we have Jack again. He's come out one time and we are so happy to have him again to join us and share. Okay. So this is our IES-INCA board directors. We have actually engineer Chong Ki Seng, who is current chairman of IES-INCA, and previously engineer Edwin Q helped to start IES-INCA and is currently the IES-INCA advisor. So in our board, we have IES members who are engineers supporting us, also non-engineer members of the board in the business and finance area to advise us. Okay. So what does IES-INCA do? We work with IES members and engineers in the field. We work with corporate SME spin-offs and IHL spin-offs, and we support them through mentorship, through engineering translation and business guidance and training so that they can grow their ventures in a sustainable and profitable manner, as well as connect them to investors as well, also the business network and also customer markets. And on top of that, as a platform, we welcome corporate to share their SME problem statements, the industry problem statements, and also innovation opportunities, for example, in the BOP Hub. And these problem statements are opportunities that our engineers who are very good at solving problems can look at, apply their domain knowledge and their expertise, and create new businesses as well. Okay. In IES-INCA, our main focus areas is on infrastructure technology, building related materials, processes, and facilities management, IoT for industrial purpose and smart cities, robotics automation, and also clean tech sustainability to build a world that is long-lasting and solving all the environmental issues. Yeah. Okay, so we welcome companies who are in the growth stage where they have done their customer discovery and validation, and they need help to grow through guidance from more senior members, business experts, and to help plan their business in a way that is sustainable and also growing, and to source the necessary funding that they can execute their plans. So companies go through the incubation program, they exit with an executable business plan and necessary funding. That's where they can take their business to the global stage. So some of our partners that we are working with, Enterprise Singapore, who have supported us in the Startup Accelerator Grant, and also in the SG Startup Founder Program, IPI, A-Star, and various partners in the industry consisting of universities, venture investment companies, and also great partners like BOP Hub, which help us into some of the new markets. And one of our key partner is ISCA, which is the Institute of Singapore Chartered Accountants. They are the national body for accountants and CFOs, and they provide us mentors in the finance area. So we are grateful for all these partnerships that help us to be able to support our incubatees better. And the network that we have formed for investment, consisting of IES members, ISCA members, and also the angel venture investing companies, we consolidated a pledge amount of 12.2 million to invest. Yeah. So we also want to outreach to engineering technology SMEs who are reach a plateau in their business and want to transform and grow. We actually put together a panel of our consultants who can help you. Feel free to sign up, and we can find some time with some of our consultants. Currently, Randall and Patrick have put up some time. You can certainly sign up to talk to them to revisit how you can grow your business and to explore new growth areas. With the hope that if you spin off a company, we can incubate you as well. Okay. We're also part of the SG Startup Founder Grant Accredited Mentor Partner, and we can support first-time entrepreneurs with a recommendation of to get this grant. Similar like BOP, but in the social space, but we are focusing on the deep tech space. Companies that are formed through this and receive this grant can get 1 to 5 matching of 50K over 12 months. Yeah. Okay, so do consider, and you can follow the link later to explore more about this program. If you are a first-time entrepreneur, you need to be a team of 3. Okay. Yep. And do take note of this Startup SG network, where you can sign in and connect with many fellow entrepreneurs, investors, and also mentors. Yeah. Do check out the link at the startupsg.net. Okay. So IES-INCA also runs courses to help our engineers upskill their knowledge in business, and upcoming course that we have on 23rd November. You can learn more about technopreneurship in the deep tech engineering space. Our trainer will be Mr. Pu Kim Peng, who has very experience in the technopreneurship space and also the education space. Yeah, we will be sending you the link. You can click and find out more. Okay, and like to announce this new partnership that we have with BOP Hub and our chairman then, Engineer Edwin Q, and BOP Hub founder Jack Sim. We signed an MOU to build this partnership where IES members, engineers can support the BOP Hub initiatives, where they need a lot of technology development, a lot of support to think out of the box to create solutions that are cost effective for the huge BOP market. At the same time, we have a lot to learn from the BOP Hub team, where they are providing a lot of business knowledge, a lot of business connections into the social entrepreneurship space, where they have that great opportunity to impact many millions and billions of people who are under the poverty line, to bring that to a better state of life and be able to have a better future ahead. So we are very excited in this partnership between IES-INCA and BOP Hub, and Tony will be sharing a lot more about that shortly. Okay. If you'd like to connect with me, feel free to click on some of the links later. I'll post in the chat. And yeah, that's all I have to share for the moment. And next we have to share with us, we'll invite Mr. Tony Tan, who is the chairman of the BOP Hub, to give you an overview on BOP Hub, what it really means, what opportunities out there, and yeah, feel free to ask us questions after that. Tony is actually very strong organizational and business strategies, over 30 years of management experience in MNCs and social enterprises. He has led many C-suite positions in Bausch & Lomb, Asia, Whirlpool, P&G, NTUC Link, Public Hygiene Council, and Tony is also a engineer, electrical engineer from University of California, Berkeley. Yeah, he also got an MBA from the Haas Business School. Yeah, and he has been leading the BOP Hub team, and forward to his presentation.
Let me just share a little bit about our BOP Hub. So the bottom of the pyramid, as the name suggests, is actually this. So in the world today, about 7.5 billion people. There is a huge disparity in wealth, and a lot of the economy and the wealth is concentrated at the top of the pyramid. And when we refer to the bottom of the pyramid, what we mean is the group of people, which is over 4 billion, who live on less than $8 a day, right? So you may hear the United Nations talk about abject poverty, which is about $1.90, right? So, but $8 a day is where a lot of the people live, and also there is a huge demand for goods and services, but they have a lot of difficulty accessing a lot of these goods and services, and also they live from day to day in just in a sustaining mode alone, right? Pretty much hand to mouth. So this is the group of people that we want to help. All right, a lot of charity have gone into this space. Charity is needed for various things, but charity never took people out of poverty. So I think this is the group that as a BOP Hub, we would like to address. Okay, so the problem of poverty is multidimensional. So it comes in various forms. So people are dying of hunger, people are dying even of diarrhea. And there's a lot of difficulty in accessing things like what we would take for granted: housing, clean water, sewage, education, lighting, electricity. So all this comes out, right? So how do we address all this? The problem exists because a lot of organizations, we play this like a snake and ladder's game, right? 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And we haven't, as a community of good at a global level, we haven't really been able to crack this in an effective way, all right? And why is that? There are many reasons, but among which are these. There's lack of access, first of all, information, market capital, and unfortunately, in the bottom of the pyramid, there's something called a poverty penalty. All right, because goods and services that we would assume is easy, take for granted for us, not so for the people at the bottom of the pyramid. Things are more expensive and harder to get. All right. So that's one issue. The other issue is the extractive mindsets. People who go into this market tend to be a little bit exploitative, right? They want to sell stuff into the community, but very little contribution. So that's another issue. We talk about charity, not being able to help people get out of poverty, and in fact, sometimes may have a negative effect of distorting the market, right? Because when you give something for free, the market forces doesn't work. And among the people who want to help, there is silo mindset. There's also putting solutions that may or may not work into these spaces. Now, our view is very simple. We believe that every poor person actually is a forced entrepreneur because they need to survive from day to day, even if it means, collecting fruit from the street, to sell, right? So the poor in this space is actually very industrious, very enterprising. And what we want to do is unlock that spirit of enterprise, right? So they are not helpless, they are not hopeless. We believe that they are able and they have talent, they have capability, and we need to just help them along. Now, how do we do that? So in short, what we do is we create an ecosystem, right? And that's why in our lingo, we always talk about system innovation, all right? And the idea is to create an ecosystem that can unlock the power of enterprise among the people in the community, and also maybe in the process, create something like a World Trade Center for the poor, where a lot of people, partners are involved and contributing to the solutions. So you see that we have a few focus areas to begin with. So these are the very, very basic: food, sanitation, livelihood, energy, very, very basic stuff. And what we do is we work with many partners, IES-INCA among them, but we also have very strategic partnership with NUS Enterprise and others in Singapore. You see that middle section is all the Singaporean organizations. Some of them are funding bodies, some of them are associations like yourselves. And then we have companies at the bottom. We have global organizations such as Catalyst, Ashoka, Schwab Foundation, corporations, Microsoft, and others. So, so this ecosystem is not comprehensive. It's not all there is. There are many more. And the idea is to create this center where we're able to bring to bear the power of all these organizations to help with the solutions that we are working on. So how do we actually do it? This is a picture that actually just condenses it into the basic minimal that describes what we do. So on the left side, we do startups and ventures, right? So this is very similar to IES-INCA. That's why there's a lot of synergies here. So last year, we started BOP Hub actually only last year, operating on a more consistent basis. And our building was built last year and completed. So since then, we have already mentored about 10 social enterprises, each one funded about $50,000. So that's one part of our work. The other part on the right side is something we call inclusive business, which basically is working with corporations and other organizations, companies, to build businesses, part of their business that is inclusive and enter into the community. All right, so those are the two anchors that we have. And then in the middle is to create this platform. We talk about many, as pioneer as 4,000 proven social entrepreneurs out there. And but a lot of them don't talk to each other, right? So we create a platform where they're able to share their solutions, and also for others to not have to reinvent the wheel, and then so they can collaborate to actually accelerate, the solutions into different markets for different purposes. So those are the main things that we do. And the way we do it, we have something like the curriculum, if you will, to help organizations and startups create their own identity, vision, and competencies to design, leverage, and springboard their solutions to build, teach them how to build trust and synergies. And most important for us is engaging the multiple stakeholders and various people in the ecosystem. And ultimately is to create system innovation, which is the center. And there you can see the different kind of things that we do with our incubatees and with our partners. And this whole curriculum is being built out right now. It's not completed, but we will get there. Finally, support and services. We do coaching, mentoring, very much like what INCA does. We have co-working spaces, some shared services. We do training workshops. We even have a maker space. People can come and do prototypes. Of course, the regular outreach and awareness platforms, and importantly, network and partnerships. All right. So this is how we operate. So I hope that, in a nutshell, gives you a feel for what we do at the Hub. All right. So with that, thank you very much. I'm so sorry I couldn't get this thing to go full screen, but just apologize for that. But now for, I guess, the main session that we are looking forward to. So I'll just pass this to Jack right now. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you very much. So today I want to talk about designing for the next billion people. So there are 4 billion at the base of the pyramid, and today is even worse after several years of earning $8 a day and less. Now this 4 billion people only earn $5.50 or less. It means that after COVID, it become poorer. No? People become poorer. So I want to give you a little bit background. Myself, I didn't go to university at first because I was a school failure. So I went to ITE to study hotel and catering. And then I came out and started to become a salesman in building materials company, and then started business in construction building materials. So along the way, I created 16 companies, including the Australian International School in Singapore at Lorong Chuan. That's a 1 kilometer school. We started with 32 students and end up with 3,500 students. Of course, I'm a school failure, so I don't know how to operate a school, but business is quite easy. You just find an opportunity and create all the expert and funding. And this is the same way we want to solve the problem with the poverty, because donating cannot solve, so we want to solve it through the marketplace. So if you go to kindergarten, you will asked to draw a chicken. All you have to do is to connect 1 to 30 dots, and then you will have a chicken. But if you are a visionary, then you see a chicken before anybody show you. So it's a blank piece of paper, you draw 2 dots and you start explaining to people that this is a chicken. So how can people see this chicken? So you can only see it because it haven't existed yet. It's the future, right? So you have to imagine and explain until it is so clear, your explanation, your storytelling is so clear that they saw a chicken, right? And if they cannot see, then they will see 2 dots. So you are actually bringing people to a journey into the future by your imagination, by your design of the future. So if you are able to do that, then you can create a whole following of people coming into your movement. So this is how we design a solution for 1 billion toilet to be supplied when there is absolutely, people don't even find it comfortable to talk about sanitation, shit, water, hygiene and all that. So So we saw at that time, 20 years ago, that children are actually open defecating out there, and adults also. And girls who go and open defecate openly, they easily get raped and molested because people see them naked, you know. So the rain then wash the water into the river, and the water get contaminated, and then the people downriver drink the water, gets diarrhea. So 50% of all the hospitals in the world are actually caused by water contamination diseases. So you imagine if we have hygiene, half gone. But now COVID, if you have hygiene, then you are safe. If you don't have hygiene, don't wear mask, don't wash hands, your risk is very, very high, right? So we have to create a movement. How do you create a movement of a subject that people don't even want to talk about? They call it a water agenda. So they don't want to say sanitation because they cannot get funding. So where I created the WTO, so it sounds like the World Trade Organization. So we play a pun on the World Trade Organization become World Toilet Organization. So the journalists found it very interesting. So they wrote a lot about this. And at first people think I was a joke, but eventually, because the media wrote so much, it became legitimate. So every year we reach out to about 2 billion people, and 19th of November is coming. So the interviews start coming already from China, from London, from Straits Times. They are all writing and preparing to launch on the 19th of November. So on 19th of November, everywhere in the world, not just me, but every country government is talking about World Toilet Day, because they want to use that day to create awareness. And our advertising budget for creating 2 billion audience a year is 0 cent. So our own operating budget is only about 100,000 US. So this is a very low cost, high impact movement. So it's use leverage model. So by 2008, so it started in 2001. By 2008, my name is already on the front page, you know. So I think it's somewhere over here lah. It's very small. I can't. It's here. So if you see right here is jack sim, right? Just the lowest one, because you know toilet they put it in the bottom. So it become legit, and then the other people will start to say, hey, this guy is real. No? So slowly, the Queen Elizabeth gave me an award as well. Prime Minister Modi start to partner me to help him with his Clean India campaign. So these are two flag photograph, very official, because when he come to Singapore, then he asked to see me, to thank me. So these are the type of thing that a Singaporean can go through the world to do. So in China, President Xi Jinping started the China toilet revolution. So I then change costume and start to make fun in China. And now China toilets improvement is getting very, very good. All the Chinese tourism toilet improve a lot. Now we're working on the rural development. And so after about 11 years, I tried my best to ask the Singapore government to help me lobby the World Toilet Day, our founding day, 19th of November, to become a UN day. And they always say cannot lah. They just say, no, Singapore cannot go to the UN to talk about shit. No? And then George Yeo lost the election in 2011. So immediately I saw the opportunity. I invited him to see World Toilet Summit as a guest of honor in Hainan. And when he was there, he saw 1,000 government, Chinese government hosting my event and paying for it. So he says, we really don't know that a Singaporean is doing so much outside the country, able to influence other government, right? So he said, what can I do for you? So I said, you call MFA and ask them to meet me, because they don't want to meet me. So after they met me, they realized our work around the world is so influential. So the MFA worked with me to lobby 193 countries. In 2013, we got the UN World Toilet Day declared by all members of the UN General Assembly. So every country, from east to west, north to south, they all now celebrate this. So this is a very momentous moment, because from there on, I don't have to do a lot of work. The work get done by itself, right? So if you want to change things, change system. So President Clinton then met me, and then he says, let's make a commitment beyond toilet. So I say, the bigger problem of toilet, we have to solve at billions level, right? Because our life is very short. So we have to, within one lifetime, do a few big things. So poverty is the biggest. So we pledge to end global poverty for 4 billion people. Of course, when you say things like this, it sounds like nonsense, right? Because how can anybody do that, you know? But when you go out there with an audacious goal, then your mind space will open up, and then other people will join you. So it's not actually you solve it, you see. So people like Tony and Lita and Dilip and Adam and Yupo, and then even all the way up to London, Nick Elliott, they all joined the board of the BOP Hub, because the belief system is more powerful than the leader. The leader is actually a facilitator. He just trigger, and then the movement happens. So during this time, we have this commitment to fundraise together to build a World Trade Center for the poor in Singapore. And of course, fundraising with President Clinton is like that. You take photo, you're going to fundraise yourself. He doesn't fundraise. But his photo is quite useful. So eventually, I fundraised some money and then went around the world to study poverty. And then 2 years ago, we built this building called the SDG Center. Why don't we call it the World Trade Center for the Poor? Because the SDG is so well marketed, we have to write on that. So we now call it the SDG Center. It's a $10 million, 65,000 square foot building dedicated for the Sustainable Development Goal of the UN. So we then, 2014, 2016, conducted BOP World Convention. So if there's a trade show, then people will start to buy and sell. So Goh Chok Tong was the first, Taman was the first one to open. And then the second show was by Goh Chok Tong. So they understand these are audacious things, sounds like crazy idea, but they think this has good future. So finally, we completed our building, and this is called the SDG Center. So inside here, there are a lot of things you can do. Meanwhile, as you remember, I was a school failure. So I went to the National University Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, because I was quite frustrated with why the government doesn't, want to listen to my good ideas, right? So I got so angry with them that I have to go to the Lee Kuan Yew School to learn how to be like one of them, so that I can enter into their thought process. So I spent 4 years part-time studying this master degree in public administration, and I got a master degree eventually. So I became an adjunct associate professor in NUS. So now I'm teaching at NUS. So after that, I realized, okay, now I know about running a country's public policy, but I am very weak technically in technology. So I applied for Singularity University at the NASA campus at Mountain View in Silicon Valley. And I stayed there for 3 months, and they taught me with 200 teachers, 200 teachers in 3 months. They teach all kinds of technology. So it's from the future into quantum computing to 3D printing to the biome and how how to map your genome and spectra camera and everything that is like, it's like a wonderland, you know. You go in and you learn every aspect, including the dark web and the Bitcoin and all these things. So now I have a overview. So if I were to talk to somebody about technology, I can talk some sense. I can't program or code, but I have a very good overview. So you see, when you study 360 degree. And of course, along the way, I also developed philosophy and spirituality. So I want to show you now that how engineers actually approach the base of the pyramid. They go and do a gimmicky design, right? So this is Obama kicking a ball or heading a ball. So if you have this ball, if you keep on hitting it, it will collect kinetic energy, and then you will be able to light for a child to read at night, you know. But what do you think? This is a stupid design, right? You can easily, you know, get a 20-cent battery and do that, or get a small solar panel to do that. Why do you want to design a football? So these are people who came up with ideas that really don't make sense. You know, eventually that joint keep on getting kicked. It doesn't work because it's broken. So it's actually a ball rather than a light. So this is an example of design failure. This is another one that have, it's called live straw. They raise millions and millions of dollars. Once people saw this picture, they say, wow, dirty water, you drink through the straw, it all get filtered up, and then the woman will get clean water in her body. So lots of people donated and sponsored and gave grants. Also, this guy, Live Straw, is a super marketing person. But once you get the straw, this photograph never happened, okay? No human being will be so stupid as to look at dirty water and go and take a straw to drink it. So actually, it is an advertisement, but it's not real. So Live Straw didn't sell. So they designed it with a theory inside Stanford University and then raised a lot of money, but it doesn't work. So what happened, you know, nowadays they make a big plastic bag. Then they put this Live Straw at the bottom, and then they let the water drip and filter into a glass of water. And then when people see the glass of water is clean, then they'll drink it. They cannot see, they won't drink it. So human behavior has to be factored into product. But if you have a big plastic bag with a filter, it's no more a Live Straw, right? It's actually, you can even design in Singapore, just make a filter, right? So this is, on the other hand, he can use it to raise a lot of money, but it's a design failure. This is another one. It's called the water wheel, hippo water wheel. So instead of carrying the water on the head, which is traditionally what happened, they make a wheel so that you just push it like a trolley, right? So this picture shows you that all land in rural area are flat, which is not true. Which is not true. Sometimes you have to push up a hill, how to go. Sometimes you got to run down the hill, you got to actually start pulling. So the price was also ridiculous. To get this tank, you got to pay $125. So in reality, after a while, raising a lot of donation, giving away, people don't use it. So this is a design consideration you must consider. Don't design things that fail. This is very close to me. My friend created this pee pooper bag. So they saw that in Africa, if you shit and then you tie with the plastic bag and throw, they're called flying toilet, right? So why don't make a biodegradable toilet and also desanitize it through some chemical. So they have a 2-bag solution, the internal bag with a chemical and the external bag just to tie it up. And then they go and raise a lot of money, and then they created a big factory to produce this. The problem is per bag production cost is 15 cents, after distribution 30 cents. But the normal non-biodegradable bag, the cost is like 10 for 1 cent or something like that. So it's completely impossible to replace the normal plastic bag with biodegradable bag. And they never figure that out. So eventually the plant is closed and people bag doesn't exist anymore. Here's another one called the play pump. You just get the children to enjoy going this merry-go-round, and then the water will pump up and everybody will drink clean water. What a wonderful thing, right? So actually it never happened. All of the play pump in the world are broken. There is no maintenance engineer anywhere, and the children are also not playing after it's broken. So I want to highlight to you how design can help, but how design can be useless, right? So these are people who create software for training, for data collection, for informing the farm people, the community building. So these are successful. So Digital Green reached like 100 million people. And then these are how to give birth, maternal, midwife, all these things. They train it how online, right? And then this Project Echo, all the doctors in the world, they have some skill, but other people don't know their skill. So he bring all these people into a Zoom platform. So he asked Zoom to give him a free license for unlimited number of people, right? So we can do a Zoom meeting up to like 30,000 people. And he now received $100 million prize for MacArthur Award, MacArthur Foundation, to do all this work. So it's very, very simple. Just organize the people. If you are like brain surgeon, then all the brain surgeon go into one session anywhere in the world to learn. If you are doing maternal care or you're gynecologist or you're whatever, pediatrician, everybody go to the same class and then learn practically and tell each other what they have learned. So no need to go to like it's a refresher course. So this is very, very powerful. Shiksha, Lokam, except they are doing the education one. So they take software from Sunbird and MRT, and then they package it up. So every day there's like 100 million people learning online. So what did they do? They create it such that they could test out around 30,000-40,000. Then they go to the government and say, take over, this is yours, because I cannot afford doing free thing, but your job is to educate people. So the bureaucrats saw that this already works, so they take over. So this is another one. M-Pesa invented phone payment of all countries, Kenya. So it was at that time the most advanced electronic payment in the whole world. Before, all this DBS bank know how to do it, M-Pesa did it. And because they didn't do it through a bank, they do it through Safari.com, which is a cell phone company. And then Bragg from Bangladesh saw that this is very good and it's very simple. And so they went to Kenya to copy the same idea. And now they are the biggest cash transfer software outside China. That means in the world, this is like number 2 largest already. So this is the extent is unbelievable, right? So this is cook stove. People use 4 pieces of bricks and then chop wood, and open fire lose a lot of heat energy. So they use the agricultural waste, make it in the pellet, do this type of cook stove where the heat is conserved. And then the people say, wow, this cook stove costs $35. I couldn't afford it. Then they say, no need, we rent you the cook stove and we sell you the pellets. And after a while, end of the month, you see you are using less wood and more pellet. And so the thing you don't need to sell, you can just do rental, right? So this is by S-Law. So, you know, Tony was Bausch and Lomb, his competitor is S-Law, right? So S-Law created iMitra, and this is the world's biggest spectacle company, right? But they decided that actually the base of pyramid is very profitable. So they created their own enterprise, and the headquarters of S-Law BOP Innovation Center is actually in Singapore, Boon Keng Road, right? So they are out there creating spectacle for all these people and selling at $8 per pair and very profitable. Okay, so these are solar panels. Instead of selling, he's actually training people. So solar energy, once you get solar energy, you get phone charging, then you get internet, and everything start to work, right? So again, some of it is sold, some of it is pay while you go, right? And now in ourselves, we start to see that this is my own project at the BOP Hub, is how to get the bottle, instead of being thrown away, to become construction material. So we've just got an industrial designer in India to design this bottle that can actually stack up. So after designing this, now I talk to Habitat for Humanity, Yong Teck Meng in Singapore. Can you get the Far East organization to prototype this? Why I asked Yong Teck Meng? Because he's the chaplain of Far East organization, which is a Christian company. So all this, they want to do good. So if we are able to start to do prototype here, do you know that the cost to invest in the blow mold of a bottle is only $1,000? It's so cheap. And then we'll do the prototype and test it out here. Then, okay, we send the mold over to India. So there are two designs. One is the bottle itself. The other one is a connector connecting other people's bottles. So there's two big brands called Bisleri and Kinley, and we take their brand and we connect in between. So this connector, the design, first round was not good. And now I was told yesterday by the designer that he's got a good idea. So we're continuously working on it. I saw the children in the poverty sector, they walk barefoot because their foot keep on growing and parents cannot afford the shoe. So I say, if your foot keep on growing, why don't I design a shoe that keep on growing? So I prototype this together with another startup in India. We call it the first shoe. And he came out with this very beautiful design with a sole that is lotus and can stretch 3 sizes. So instead of 15 pair, you only need 5 pairs. And then in 8 years, you pay only one price. And so this is not yet in the market, but it's investable. And then the business model is the poor gets their shoe for very, very affordable price, but it's subsidized by the buy one, give one from the people like you and me. And if we buy a pair of shoe like this for, let's say, $29, and then the poor get one pair the same, we feel good, but we also find the shoe is very nice, right? So this is the kind of business model. It's not just designing, but the business model very important also. We also design an award-winning toilet that's very simple. The toilet normally is flat, right? But this one, we tilt it up like high heel so that when you squat on it, even Ang Mo also can squat. Fat people also can squat because your center of gravity move forward and it's very comfortable to squat here. Because some people we observe, they squat on tiptoe, right? On the front of their feet, and it's really very, very uncomfortable. So we design this and patent it, and then we won the IF award, the Japan Good Design Award, the India design mark. And so now this goes out with a license for 100,000 Singapore dollars in India, and we're looking for new licensee around the world. And in Singapore, we also started to feed the Bangladeshi construction worker and Indian worker with fortified rice. This is one of the startup we start in the BOP Hub. And the World Toilet Organization created the World Toilet College together with Reckitt Benckiser, the owner of the bleach, Harpic and Dettol, and they fund everything. So we're working with the government. We put out about 7,500 workers trained to be professional and place them. And now, as Tony told you, we are actually designing a feeding program in the school. So the opportunity is very wide. There's 1 billion people don't have electricity, 1.3 billion people don't have lighting, 1.6 billion people don't have enough housing, 2.5 billion people don't have toilet, 4 billion people don't have internet. So no, drinking water, education, everything's an opportunity. Don't look at it as problem. So we invite you to come and prototype with us and work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack, for that most inspiring sharing of how you have impacted the world in so many ways. Yeah, now we are coming to our Q&A segment, and we want you to ask them some questions to the BOP Hub. Also find out more how you can participate in impacting the base of the pyramid. Yeah. So anybody has any questions you'd like to share? Also feel free to turn on your video if you like to just ask it to the BOP Hub team as well. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe I'll just start off with some questions here for Jack and Tony. Do you run programs, or how do people get involved in some of these opportunities, or how do we participate in them? Yeah.
So the reason we partner with IES-INCA is to tap into your talent, and then if you don't know what is the problem out there, we can give you a lot of problem statement. So once you have this problem statement, you can start to ask what are the needs and what are the design needed and all that. Then you start to integrate technology. For example, if we say water filtration. So water filtration, there's a lot of technology for water filtration. However, the affordability and the distribution business model and the shape and all that, I think those are very important things too. So you can come with your expertise, but your expertise will be only in a certain part of the solution. Then we'll bring other experts to complete it. Ourselves, of course, we also know certain amount of things, then combine. How about Tony?
Yeah, and also I think we are both interested in your tech. If you have something that you are working on that may already perhaps be applicable to, let's say, the top of the pyramid problem, let's say solar panels, right? But you may not see the opportunity at the base of the pyramid, because normally for actually technopreneurs, they don't really think about the bottom of the pyramid so much. So we would love to hear this kind of solutions, and then maybe also advise and also perhaps connect to the right people, so that you are able to see how, let's say, a solar panel, which normally runs in this kind of Singapore environment in the city, how can that, as Jack said, showed you that example, suddenly be transformed into something very, very wonderful for the base of the pyramid, right? So, and then with a different business model, with a different market, different ecosystem, but the technology is still there, right? So, so this is the kind of thing we want to help with, and for the partnership. Of course, on a regular basis, we work with startups who have different kind of ideas. Jack went through many of them just now. and also companies. So if you represent a certain company and you feel like, hey, there's some product line that I have, or you have a certain geography, you have a subsidiary that can have businesses that may be more inclusive in that community, and you have an idea, we would love to hear as well. So there are very many ways of coming at this. So we are very open to anybody who would like to share with us so that we can engage you.
Tony, maybe I just extend on that. Usually for the base of pyramid, does it mean we have to design in a very low cost manner for it to be able to be accepted by the people in the base of the pyramid? Is that a criteria usually?
Jack, you want to address that?
Yeah, I think so. There are a few things to understand what is affordability. Affordability doesn't mean that the item is very cheap. It means that they can afford it. Afford it can mean that I pay by installment, or I don't even buy the product, I rent it. It could also be that I didn't pay for all of it. I pay for only 20%, but it is a government subsidy. Like toilet in India, government subsidies is very, very heavy, right? It could be that there is a donor who wants to solve this problem and they donate a whole bunch of it. So affordability, accessibility, those are easier to understand than cheap. Then the next thing is that, of course, you don't want to add frills into it. The cell phone we have, we never use all the function, right? I only take photograph and do social media only, right? And so you don't need to over design. And the last thing is you need to think about how robust and the maintenance, because if it must be so simple to maintain. If it's difficult to maintain, it doesn't work. So when I go to India and buy a locally made cell phone, then it didn't work, and the repair is like really they use hammer and use screwdriver. You can't believe it. But after they whack on it, it's repaired. So you have to think how you can repair it cheaply with very simple training, like that. A lot of product no maintenance. In fact, a lot of hospitals are built with no trained doctor and nurses, and so all become empty building, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
thanks.
the other thing to take into account is, in the base of the pyramid, sometimes it's not just about a product or a service. You actually, as Jack described, right? You're actually going to provide a solution, which is usually ecosystem, So it's not just, putting out like one product or one service, So in an ecosystem, you have different dynamics, different pricing dynamics and different delivery dynamics, right? So for example, let's take the solar panel, since we have that as an example. The solar panel is a solar panel, right? But in that market, in the BOP market, the solar panel, for example, is connected to a pottery wheel, that helps you to get, the pottery wheel turning so that you can do industry, right? So you are willing to pay because you are actually going to earn money from it, right? Or it's connected to a sewing machine, electric sewing machine, or it's connected to light, right? Which then allow people to work at night, and be more productive, for students to go to school. So the whole equation starts to look very different. So it's not like a one-on-one kind of comparison. Yeah. So it's really about affordability rather than just absolute pricing.
Okay, thanks for that, Tony. Okay, Jack, we have questions from the audience. Cha Lun Ching would like to understand, what is the biggest challenge of running a social enterprise in Singapore?
The biggest challenge in Singapore are a lot. One is that there's no market for social enterprises, because the population is very small. 5.7 million people, out of which only a very small number need help, For example, the number of people that need help to subsidy to go to school is 80,000 children, right? Well, enough that government need to give subsidy, right? So let's say we'll say relatively low income in Singapore, total will be about $200,000 that at least the government gives them some money every month, but they also have their own income. But if you compare this problem with, let's say, India, you will probably be talking about 600 million people, right? If you go to China, you want to solve a problem, you can easily find a problem where there's 100 million people to solve. So in terms of scale, Singapore got no scale, no scale because small population and very efficient government. Then if you want to try to solve social problem in Singapore, the government get very angry with you because you are actually trying to point out that they still didn't do their perfect job, right? So our difficulty is that because we live in a developed country, those donors from Europe, from America, they don't want to donate to a social enterprise in Singapore because you are a rich country. Why should I donate to you? But if I was born in India, in Africa, then I can attract a lot of money. So those double whammy, triple whammy makes it very hard for Singapore social enterprise to run. However, if you change your mind to say, I'm not a Singaporean citizen, I'm actually a citizen of the whole world, then suddenly you can do everything with it.
Yeah, thanks for that answer. I do see that actually a lot of Singaporeans do care a lot about social causes. Yeah, whenever somebody has somebody sick or there's a need, wow, a lot of generous people will support and donate as well. So what more the friends in India or in Bangladesh or in Indonesia that need help? Yeah, maybe just on a practical side, if the engineers in the audience want to, work with BOP Hub, what's coming up that they can look into, or where can they start from? Yeah.
Maybe Lita knows the answer. Lita, are you there, Lita?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So where can they start from? Is that the question?
Yes.
So if they're interested in doing something, we do a number of things. We can hold an ideation lab, and sometimes, depending on what they have to offer, sometimes we do individual solutions as well. So we sit down and discuss with you, find out your idea. But what we do is to try and look at it as what Tony and Jack have been saying, is taking a social systems innovation approach. We take a systems view of everything. We do human-centric design. Dilip, who's here, is focused on human-centric design, behavioral science perspectives, so that we try to find a solution that doesn't have those design failures that what Jack was talking about, by including the problems at the base of the pyramid and by working with our partners who are on the ground. Because a lot of times we're not connected to the ground and we don't understand the reality. And if we make a solution just based on what we think the problem is, then we probably won't be able to succeed. So that's how we help. We help to incubate. If there's something, a business that's already kind of going, but they feel they want to include the base of the pyramid, we can help as well with inclusive business. And also, sometimes we notice that people who are quite well into their business idea, but we help them to accelerate and go back towards the base of the pyramid to see how they can expand their purview so they can reach more people. So those are some of the ways that we do that.
Just come with your curiosity, come with your heart, and ask questions like, what if, like that, So for example, this morning, I was talking to the university in Hawaii, and And I say, you know, Singapore is a small island in a good location. And then all the Pacific Islands are also small island like us in a faraway location. So digitization makes everything possible to be online. That means good location, bad location also the same, 99% of the time. And then 1% of the time, we need meet people. We need actual physical transaction. So why don't Singapore become the headquarter representative office of all small island country in the whole world? So there's 104 countries in the Forum of Small States. So why don't we become the headquarter? So I asked this professor, is this a completely crazy idea? He said, no, this is a very good idea. I have to start to talk to all these islands government if they want to do this. Why not? Because Singapore is trusted, efficient, and we are so far away. But every sovereign can issue bank license, can issue currency, issue stamp, issue coin, issue airline license, everything. So let's think about how to do. So every time you have an idea, the best idea, totally crazy idea. And then don't be scared. Keep on talking and saying what if. After a while, it might turn out not to be the original idea, but something else that would.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I have a question here from Mr. K. Yeah, Mr. K asked about implementation of green technologies for sustainability. Generally speaking, these have a longer ROI than similar businesses and often not profitable without government help. So he's interested to know from IES point of view how we can help such business proposals. I think in the sustainable development goals, a lot of it is also about circular economy, looking after the resources, making sure that we don't destroy the earth in the process. And often green solutions may cost more at the onset because of it being new and not developed or not implemented at scale. So a lot of marketing, a lot of interest and attracting the people who want to support some of this new technology and really want to preserve the earth, create a legacy, to buy into some of this technology is key. And using the publicity, the interest, the human story interest to grow that is one part of it. Next part of it is also to grow the skill, to the point where it becomes commonplace in the industry. Certainly, as a start, you need to do value engineering. You need to be able to pitch your business with a different business model. Try to be creative around it. I think BOP guys definitely are experts in this business model innovation to get to where you want to achieve as the business goes. You cannot take the traditional approach of just ROI. You really need to look at the bigger goals where you find your supporters in the industry, whether it's corporates who believe in some of these sustainable goals or customers who really want to preserve that. So maybe just a question for the BOP guys. As part of the SDG goals, I'm sure you meet many that are looking at that green technology and solutions. And if it's more expensive than what we have now, how would you approach that? Yeah, maybe you can ask further questions.
Maybe I try and answer that by giving one example. So we literally have a green group, right, in our BOP Hub that we are incubating. So what they do is basically rooftop farming, right? So you're right, in the beginning, right, the cost will be higher because Singapore doing farming is almost impossible, right? So however, this group basically developed rooftop farming technology, right, that is quite efficient and also very productive, right? So their tonnage and all that per square feet and all that is superb, right? Because of the design of what they have. And also what they do to manage costs is basically when you think about rooftops, a lot of rooftops in Singapore are not used for anything. It's just blank, It's just sitting there. There's nobody uses it for anything. So there are many rooftops that would be very, very low cost, you know. So if you want to, let's say, farm on land, for example, it's very expensive unless the government give you, you know, Lim Chu Kang somewhere, special price. But you know, it's an unnatural pricing, right? But empty rooftops are everywhere, you know, and many buildings have them. And Singapore is promoting green buildings and all that, so it becomes a natural market, you know. So what we are able to do is get rooftops for quite low price, you know, really very low price. Some enlightened building owners may say, I give you for free, you know, we support you, you know, that kind of thing. But even you have to pay, it's a very small price, right? So when you have land that is not very expensive, right? So we are trying to make the systems cheaper. And in fact, we are engaging IES to help us to design these things. So now they design for productivity. Now we need to design for manufacturability, get it low, right? So that it becomes less expensive. And within that system, there's also circularity, right? So it's sustainability in the sense of, you know, using urban environment. It supports the green plan of Singapore. But also we recycle water, and if we can get to the next step, we may use solar panels to recycle energy. You know, so it's a very circular design. Is it rocket science? No, but it takes, like yourselves, you know, good engineers, put your mind together, you create a system that's very circular and very useful, right for the Singapore environment. And eventually what we want to do is get this cost so low that we can go overseas, because in the BOP markets around the world, in urban settings, there's also a lot of poverty, right? So what we can do is bring some of these, you know, at low cost to these places so that they can grow their own vegetables and have a, you know, and actually, you know, live off their little pieces of land wherever they are. So there's so this is the kind of thing we are thinking about. So, you know, a little bit of a conventional urban top of the pyramid type of idea, but can be translated eventually to you know, BOP type markets, right? But the circularity is there, and if you have a great idea, you can always find a way, you know, to make it work. Yeah. So as an example, right, of a sustainable business that we are trying to green business.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the question. You want to add on to that, or it's okay for now? Yeah.
Any other question?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions from the audience you'd like to ask? Yeah. Anybody has some business ideas you're exploring, you want to share?
One of the things I want to emphasize is that focus on the problem deeply and design the solution for the benefit of whoever is suffering from not having it, right? So they don't have the solution. So along the way, if you're designing solution, you will be distracted by many unnecessary distraction. One distraction will be self-doubt. Can I do it or not? I think very difficult. Another question is that difficult or not? This type of question, do not ask yourself, because if you ask such question, you get 50% of the chance to say very difficult. So you don't ask this type of question. You ask how to do it, how to solve it, what if. So the type of question that you ask will lead you to the next action. Okay, and then oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the resource, don't have the power, don't have the technology, don't have the influence, don't have the authority. Don't focus on those things. Just focus on what if I can solve it, how does it look like? So if you keep on asking this way, your brain will deliver you a different answer where if you are afraid. So be brave, have courage, and you will be able to realize that you're actually very clever. You're much cleverer than you thought you were. So you have been shortchanging yourself for a very long time. So it's time to believe that, I can, let's try. And once you're able to do that, you realize that other people also join you. Secondly, do not do it for fame. You want to do it because you are famous, and that's another distraction. That means you are not focusing on the enjoyment of the deprived person after your solution is found. You are focusing on, after you found the solution, how much celebration will be on you. Then your brain will not give you very good answer, right? So after a while, you let go of yourself, let go of your fear. And in the process of the design, you let go of a lot of things. Then you suddenly realize your character become borderless, open, and you are able to trust other people more and work with them and let them shine on stage like that.
Okay. Yep. Okay, thank you for all your questions. We're going to officially end here, but those of you who would like to, continue chatting, I will be hanging around for a while with some of the BOP Hub guys if they don't have to run off, and then we can chat further Okay, so thank you for being here and listening to our sharing on IES-INCA BOP Hub and the base of the pyramid. Many opportunities exist, and we hope that going forward we can engage with more engineers to work with the BOP Hub team and bring more awareness to some of these challenges out there that our friends in the base of the pyramid are facing.